Hey everyone, my name is John, and today I'd like to share with you all my personal experiences with chronic dizziness, and also, more importantly, how I was able to recover from it. I know that um, anyone who's watching this video must have typed in, chronic dizziness and how to fix it just to get that help, and I was in that position once before, and that's why I wanted to make this video, hopefully that it can reach out to someone who is in need and wants the answers. So a little bit about myself. I am a physiotherapist, and I live in Australia, and yeah, like earlier this year, around January 2022, that's when I first started getting the symptoms. So I've had symptoms for maybe like 9-10 months now, but I can say that I feel pretty much fully recovered by this point. So yeah, to start off with, yeah, I'll probably just say that there wasn't any particular incident that provoked my dizziness, so I didn't get a concussion or anything. There wasn't a particular event per se. It was just something that came out of nowhere. And when I did get the dizziness symptoms, it wasn't really like it wasn't a sensation of like vertigo where if you feel like the room's spinning around you. It was more so like a rocky swaying feeling. Maybe a little bit like you're drunk, or I'd say I'd best describe it as if you're swaying on a boat. And it's a very unsettling feeling when you have it. And so I was I was starting to panic when my symptoms came out of nowhere but wasn't going away after like 3 or 4 days. And yeah, that was really tough. I'd say my first week was the hardest because I was just expecting, this dizziness to go away, in a matter of like 2 or 3 days, but it was just persisting. So after about a week, that's when I really started freaking out. And I actually went to the emergency department. So at the emergency department, I got my full blood tests done. Everything was clear. My iron levels, hemoglobin, all the things that, relate to a potential, the potential symptoms of dizziness. Yeah, the doctor was saying, yeah, it's all fine. And I just got discharged. And that wasn't good enough for me. I really wanted some answers. So I kind of discussed with the doctor, and he agreed that I could go see the neurologist. So as I was saying before, I'm a physio, and I was thinking it could be a potential neurological thing. So like a stroke, something crazy like that. Um, and yeah, so he agreed, and I got a referral to get a brain scan. So the brain scan showed up fine. And that left me even more. I was glad that there wasn't anything wrong there, but yeah, I was wanting the answer. Um, so some of the details in my story won't necessarily be in exact chronological order, but I know that I did go and see the GP. I saw in total about 3 GPs because, yeah, 2 of the GPs kind of didn't know what it was and just chalked it down to anxiety. And the third GP, so the first 2 GPs I went to didn't know what it was, chalked it down to anxiety. And so I went to see the third GP, who was apparently one of the best GPs in town. Because I got many friends who are doctors, so I got the referrals, and yeah, they said there's a really good doctor. He's got heaps of experience. Went to see that GP, and I laid it all out. I said all my blood works are fine. I got the brain scan, that's fine. What do you think it is? Now, I'm backtracking a little bit, but I was Googling this whole time. So many of you would probably relate to like just going on Google trying to find answers. And you get those sites where it says the 8 reasons why you've got dizziness, including dehydration, blood pressure, blah, blah, blah. I'll go through that list and tick them off and be like, no, it's not dehydration, it's not blood pressure because I've checked that, it's not low ions, I've checked that. But I've finally came across something called pppd, which stands for perceptual postural persistent dizziness. Now, this is a fairly like recently recognized condition. I think about 5-6 years, and the diagnostic criteria was, basically you're medically cleared for everything else, and your symptoms of dizziness are lasting for 3 months and more. So I thought to myself, wow, like I actually fit the diagnostic criteria. Now, I just want to say, so when it comes to dizziness, that's actually a really difficult sort of symptom to just funnel down into one particular condition, because there are 30 different things you could have under the sun where dizziness is a symptom, right? So they call it, non-specific. So that's also why it makes it hard for, a doctor to be able to just say, okay, you have, low iron or low blood pressure, like, because dizziness could really come from a lot of little different things. So so basically, going back to the story, I laid it all out to this doctor, and I also said to him, I think it could be something called pppd. So his response was, he just shrugged and said, I don't know what that is. And and he just didn't really know what I had, and just basically let me on my way. Because I at that point in time when I saw the last GP, I thought to myself, I'm not gonna bother going through this whole journey of just trying to find out what it is. I'm gonna see him as a last GP, and if he doesn't have answers, I'm just gonna take it like it's pppd and just move on. So I looked up heaps of information online about pppd, and I saw little bits here and there, which were all helpful. So basically, like I was saying, it's a fairly recently recognized condition. So that explained why a lot of doctors didn't know exactly what pppd was. Now, by the way, I just want to quickly say pppd has been interchangeable with chronic dizziness. So that's why in the beginning I just wanted to refer to it as chronic dizziness, just so I wouldn't like really confuse people. But from now I'm going to refer to it as pppd. And basically, from what I gathered, pppd relates to a lot with your nervous system, and your brain inputs as well. So to sort of summarize, what's happening when you have chronic dizziness is your nervous system's really amplified. It's heightened. We have something called a fight or flight response, which is the part of our nervous system that protects us when we encounter life-threatening situations, like if a saber-toothed tiger came out to kill us, or we were running away from a bear. But sometimes, like this fight or flight system is kicked into overtime, and when that happens, things can happen in our sort of neural inputs in our brain. And that made a lot of sense to me, because that we did learn about that side of things in physio school, and for my international viewers, physical therapy school. But we didn't really learn about pppd specifically per se. I mean, we did learn about vertigo and other sort of conditions relating to dizziness there. But so I bought into some of this information that I found online about, how triple PD comes about. Um, and yeah, now I'd like to refer to some of the really good resources that I found on the internet. So, one of them was this book called Rock Steady, and I highly recommend it. It's by an author called Remenyi, and I'd say this book really got me on the right path with recovering from my triple PD. Um, and it does, have that basis of our nervous system and doing things to calm it down and stay on top of our nervous system. I definitely, you know, started healing when I read that book. Another great, phenomenal resource that I'd highly, highly, highly recommend is The Steady Coach. So if you look up on YouTube, The Steady Coach, that's the name of the channel. And yeah, the the person behind The Steady Coach is a lady called Dr. Yo, and she also gives phenomenal advice. So what I did was I watched all her YouTube videos, and yeah, also participated in the community group as well, which was awesome. Um, and I'd say those two resources really, really helped me on my recovery quest. Another thing that helped me as well was, especially during the initial stages of having the dizziness, was because I'm a physio myself. I did heaps of, I basically prescribed myself a lot of balance slash strength exercises. And in school, we were taught that, rehab exercises have so much evidence to behind it in terms of just how well it is to treat a large range of conditions. So I knew that when it comes to like vertigo and a lot of dizziness, like rehab exercises are excellent. So I wasn't, while I felt very, very, very dizzy, and at that point, I was scared to like even go to the shops or get out of the house for a little while. I knew that it wouldn't hurt to do some rehab exercise. So at home, I have some equipment, some weights, kettlebells, resistance bands, and I did, the exercise, and I'd say they really helped me in those initial stages have confidence to move, because yeah, I was just worried about, falling over, and I would do some, single leg lateral hops from side to side, and I'd prove myself to myself, wow, like I don't necessarily fall over. I think I'll be fine. And what that kind of did was it helped calm my nervous system down, which helped, set me on the right direction with recovery. Just want to say the recovery wasn't overnight, and I don't think it it really is for most people. Everybody's different with on their recovery stages. For me, it's taken me a few months now, and sometimes you don't even notice the improvements. But I can say, looking back now, I feel so much better, and I'd say even from the beginning stages where I did my physio, I felt like confident to just be able to live a normal life. So I actually went back to work. So I had the symptoms for a week. I freaked out, went to ED, was bedridden for about a week. But I actually went back to work after that, after ED, after a week. Now, I didn't go full impact back into work, but I did, I eased back into it. But I basically kind of was doing my normal routines, like, not that long after. So I did feel the dizziness, but it didn't stop me from going to the shops, didn't stop me from going out with my friends. Now, I would feel the sensations and it would freak me out. And I'm not gonna lie, there were days where I questioned myself and I thought, am I gonna heal? Am I gonna fully recover? Despite having my physio background and my understanding of medical knowledge, I still had the doubts. But thanks to the resources, as I mentioned, um, and doing physio for myself, moving, I think I got to where I am today. And I'd say the recovery process was gradual, and I've there were just milestones, maybe every month or two where I'd I'd have moments where I'm like, oh, I feel a little better actually. And then there were times where I felt a little like I regressed, but I noticed that every time I regressed, I was in a stressful situation. So I hope I'm gonna end this video here. I don't want to drag it on too long. I hope this has helped people out there. Please refer to the resources. There is hope out there. I've seen and read comments in thread posts on Reddit or YouTube, people who are like, I've had dizziness for 7 months, I don't know how to get the answers. There are answers, and it's just a matter of finding them. The Steady Coach, and I'll put the descriptions in the link, and yeah, the Rock Steady book as well. I also want to give some tips in future videos about some physio stuff that you can do as well, to essentially get more confidence with, doing the things that you want to in life, moving around the way that you want to, not being scared of falling. So I hope that, my video has been informative, it's given hope, and I'll catch you in the next one.